Hello sewing people of the internet. In this video I'm going to show you how I improved upon this phone carrier I improvised for running that I've actually been using for a couple of years now. I made it kind of one afternoon and thought I would use it for a little while, and I've been using it for a long time now. But it was not adequate to the job, primarily because, as you can see, I had to keep a Ziploc baggie in it to keep my phone in, because this is not protecting it from water in any way. Just for the record, I live and run in Florida all year long, and when I run in the summer it looks like I've jumped in a lake. So I really need something to protect my phone from water. So I'm going to show you what I came up with. Before you say it, two things. One, yeah, I do carry my phone, and yes, I do feel like I need to, and you may not, and that's totally cool. But I have people who may need to reach me. I have a business that I have to run, and I may have an emergency, or just decide I bit off more than I needed to chew and I need to, summon an Uber or call my wife to come get me. So good for you if you feel like you can run without your phone, but I do need to carry mine with me. Secondly, I'm an iPhone user, and yes, I bought an Apple Watch. And not only does it not work for me as a running watch, just from a feature standpoint, but again, because I look like I jumped in a lake when I've been running in the summer, it doesn't work. Like, it will not respond to any inputs at times, and therefore is not reliable as a source of communication for me in either an emergency or for whatever reason. So the Apple Watch doesn't do it for me. If it works for you, that's great, but in my environment, it just doesn't work. And I love Apple products, but unfortunately not that one for that purpose. Okay, let me show you the phone carrier I made. So this is what I came up with. This is made out of the same material I recently made a fanny pack out of. It's X-Pack VX07 fabric that I got from Ripstop by the Roll. I'll have an affiliate link in the description for them if you want to check out some of their offerings. If you buy through that link, I'll get a little bit of a kickback at no cost to you. After using this fabric for the fanny pack and realizing how water resistant it is, I felt comfortable making a pack for my phone that should keep it dry both from sweat and if I happen to get caught in rain or something while I'm out running. This should do the trick. I used a number 8 YKK AquaGuard zipper, so again, should be pretty water resistant. These things aren't technically waterproof, but it should be good enough for the situations that I'll be using it in. And I threw on a little bit of mesh on the front just as a place to maybe stuff a small piece of trash or maybe an extra gel, just whatever I might need to have on me. So now let me show you the basics of how I constructed this. Before we get into the construction, I again would like to ask for your help in raising money for the Cancer Foundation of the Florida Keys. This May, I'm going to be doing my first 50-mile ultramarathon. And the charity for that event is the Cancer Foundation of the Florida Keys. It would suck to have cancer anywhere, even in paradise, and unfortunately for people who are fighting cancer living in the Florida Keys, it's a pretty inconvenient place to do that. There's only one way in and out of the island, and a lot of services aren't available there. So it may mean leaving your home for an extended period of time or being stuck in traffic after undergoing chemo or things like that. So the Cancer Foundation of the Florida Keys exists to help residents of the Florida Keys in a lot of ways. I set a goal for myself to try to raise $2,000 for the foundation as part of this race. There's no way I can do that without your help. Thank you so much to those of you who have already donated. If you haven't, if you can, any donation will help. There's a link in the description. I'd really appreciate it if you can make any donation that you're comfortable with. I realize that there are lots of worthy causes competing for our money at this point, but I think this is a worthy cause, and I hope you can help me help them. Thank you so much. I started the process by cutting out pieces to make a pouch just big enough for my phone to fit relatively snugly inside. Then I started putting the gusset together by cutting a length of zipper and cutting strips the same width as the zipper out of the X-Pack fabric. I cut those pieces longer than I needed them, and that way once I sew everything together I can adjust the length then. I cut 2 layers for each of the wings on the side of the bag where the strap attaches. And I kind of just cut these out of scrap, so I just made them the size that worked with the scrap pieces I had. Then I sewed them together, right sides together. I left the end of the wing where it will be sewn into the body of the bag open so that I could turn it out. The back panel of the bag is made out of one piece of the VX07 fabric and a piece of spacer mesh. If I had a different color of the VX07, this would be a good place to use that instead of using this pattern, but this is all I have. After I sewed the spacer mesh to the VX07, I sewed the wings onto the ends of that panel. Next, I used some clips to temporarily attach the zipper gusset to the back panel so that I could adjust it to the right size. And I did this mostly out of view of the camera because after almost 10 years, I'm still really not that good at making YouTube videos. After confirming that the gusset was long enough, I sewed it to the back panel. I left a few inches of each end unsewn to the bottom. That way I'll have room to sew the two ends together and then I can fully sew them on. After sewing the gusset ends together, I cut off the excess length and then just put a double fold hem in the end to hide the raw edges. And then I finished sewing the gusset to the bottom side of the back panel. For the mesh pocket on the front panel, I put a double fold hem on the top and sewed it down with a zigzag stitch. Then I stitched the mesh to the front panel very close to the edge so that the stitches would be hidden in the seam allowance. After sewing the front panel to the pouch, I bound the seams with mil-spec 4088 binding. I turned the pouch right side out and then sewed the webbing for the waist straps onto the wings. And the final step was to sew a double fold into the strap end. I added a sew-on carabiner that I had laying around just as a place to temporarily hold my key. I wouldn't run with it that way, but it might be convenient for in a parking lot. So that's how I put this pack together. One thing to take away from this is, the front panel gusset with a zipper, back panel construction. You could change the shape and size of this and you've got a backpack, you've got a fanny pack, you can make a messenger bag. This is kind of the basic framework for a lot of the stuff that we make on this channel. The one thing I have left to do is put some heat shrink on these zippers so I don't have to listen to that the whole time I'm running. And maybe I'll put that into a separate video. Anyway, I hope you found something about this useful. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comment section below. If you like what I'm doing here, clicking the thumbs up button is always a nice thing to do. You can support me by buying merchandise. There's a link in the description below. And again, if you haven't already and if you're able to, I would greatly appreciate any donation that you are comfortable making to the Cancer Foundation of Florida Keys. There's a link for that also in the description. If you're not already a subscriber, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. See you next time. A few days after I made this pouch, I completed a 50K run in Big Cypress Swamp in southwest Florida, and the pouch worked great.